Christmas has always been a little stressful. Awkward family dinners, maxed out credit cards, and the annual struggle to untangle the lights. But this year, Christmas isn't just stressful. It's a full-blown apocalyptic nightmare. Santa's ditched his jolly persona for something much darker. The reindeer have developed a taste for flesh, and the elves are armed with weapons that look suspiciously like sharpened toy trains. It's not about decking the halls anymore. It's about surviving them. Let's not forget the smaller horrors, cursed eggnog that bubbles like a witch's brew, carolers whose voices are laced with hypnotic spells, and sentient fruitcakes that refuse to be ignored. You thought your creepy elf on the shelf was bad? Try a rogue ornament tree that's hungry for more than just compliments. If you're thinking this sounds like the plot of a low-budget horror movie, congratulations. You're in the Christmas apocalypse now, and no amount of holiday spirit is going to save you. But don't panic. This guide is here to arm you. Literally, in some cases, sharpened candy canes are surprisingly effective. With the tips and tricks you'll need to survive the Yuletide terror. Whether it's dodging zombified Rudolph, outsmarting strike-happy elves, or learning why you should never ever sing along with the carolers, we've got you covered. So grab your candy canes, avoid the eggnog, and keep one eye on that suspiciously cheerful Santa at the mall. Because this Christmas, the only thing on your wish list should be survival. Welcome to the most terrifying holiday season of your life. Let's make sure it's not your last. Tip 1. Beware the mall Santas. Mall Santas have always been a little unsettling. The fake beards, the too cheerful ho ho ho, and the suspiciously dead-eyed expressions were enough to make anyone uneasy. But now they're downright deadly. Not every Santa is human anymore, and those that aren't, well, let's just say you'll want to avoid sitting on their lap. The first rule of surviving the Christmas apocalypse is simple. Assume every mall Santa is compromised. If his eyes glow red, if his laugh sounds more like a growl, or if he smells faintly of sulfur, he's not there to hand out candy canes. He's there to collect souls. Or maybe just to maul anyone who gets too close. Either way, steer clear. Spotting a rogue Santa isn't always easy. Some of them are clever, blending in with their human counterparts like festive wolves in sheep's clothing. Look for subtle signs. An overly tight grip on the children he's holding. Movements that are just a little too stiff. Or an aura of sheer malice that seems to radiate from his very being. And if he's surrounded by zombified elves, run. You're not going to win that battle. If you do find yourself face to face with a rogue Santa, don't panic. Panic smells like fear, and fear is their favorite scent. Instead, back away slowly, keeping your eyes on him at all times. If he starts to move, toss something shiny in his direction. Rogue Santas are easily distracted by reflective objects. And if all else fails, remember the golden rule. Candy canes aren't just for eating. Sharpen yours into a peppermint spear and aim for the beard. Tip 2. The eggnog is cursed. Eggnog, the creamy, festive drink of holiday gatherings everywhere. Or at least, it used to be. Now the eggnog is cursed, and drinking it is like playing Russian roulette with a glass. Best case scenario. You get mildly possessed and spend the rest of the evening chanting ominous Latin phrases. Worst case? Let's just say you'll find out what it feels like to have a fruitcake sprout claws and drag you into the nearest closet. The first thing you need to know is how to spot the cursed nog. If it bubbles on its own, smells like a combination of cinnamon and brimstone, or starts to glow faintly in the dark, it's not the nostalgic holiday treat you remember. It's a one-way ticket to paranormal shenanigans, and you don't want to be the star of that show. Even if the eggnog looks normal, don't let your guard down. Cursed nog is sneaky. It lures you in with its creamy texture and promises of festive warmth, only to leave you puking ectoplasm or worse. If you're offered a glass, politely decline and stick to water. Or, if you're feeling adventurous, a suspiciously fizzy soda that might just turn you into a walking Christmas light. At least that's festive. And for those who think they can outsmart the nog by just a little sip, let me stop you right there. That's exactly what it wants you to think. One sip is all it takes for the curse to kick in. If you absolutely must drink something festive, make your own eggnog at home, preferably while chanting protective spells or wearing a wreath of garlic, just to be safe. Tip 3. The reindeer are watching. You always thought the reindeer were Santa's lovable sidekicks, didn't you? Guiding his sleigh, singing catchy songs about their glowing noses, and spreading Christmas cheer. Well, not anymore. The reindeer have gone rogue, and their festive facade hides something much darker. These days, they're less about delivering presents and more about delivering chaos, and you're at the top of their naughty list. The zombification of Santa's reindeer has turned them into relentless hunters. Rudolph's glowing red nose, it's no longer a beacon of hope. It's a predator's tracking device. When you see that eerie crimson glow cutting through the darkness, it's already too late. They're fast, they're cunning, and they have no qualms about turning you into a holiday snack. The key to surviving these undead reindeer is understanding their patterns. They move in packs, led by a more aggressive, slightly decayed Rudolph. You'll hear them before you see them. Heavy hooves pounding on the ground, snorts that sound like growls, and the occasional unsettling jingle of sleigh bells. If you hear any of these sounds, find shelter immediately, preferably somewhere with a sturdy door and no chimneys. And if you do come face to face with one of Santa's zombie reindeer, don't try to outrun them. You won't win. Instead, confuse them. Use shiny objects or loud noises to throw them off. A well-aimed ornament or a burst of holiday music at full volume might just buy you enough time to escape. But whatever you do, don't let them corner you. Reindeer might be festive, but these ones? They're killers, and they won't stop until they've made you part of their twisted holiday feast. Tip 4. Candy canes are weapons. Candy canes, the innocent holiday treat that screams Christmas nostalgia. Except now, in this apocalyptic Yuletide nightmare, they're more than just a sugary snack. They're your best shot at survival. When sharpened to a lethal point, candy canes become deadly weapons capable of taking down anything from zombified reindeer to enraged mall Santas. Think of them as peppermint spears and wield them with pride. The trick to crafting your candy cane arsenal is in the sharpening process. Simply sucking on one end until it forms a perfect point works fine. Just be careful not to stab yourself in the process. If time is of the essence and the undead elves are closing in, break the candy cane at an angle to create a jagged edge. Sure, it's not elegant, but in the Christmas apocalypse, it's about effectiveness, not presentation. Candy canes are versatile too. Use them as throwing weapons to distract the enemy. Jab them into sensitive areas, Rudolph's glowing nose, prime target. Or, if you're feeling particularly bold, dual wield them like festive daggers. Pro tip: the larger the candy cane, the more devastating the impact. Those giant novelty ones? They're basically the holiday equivalent of a battle axe. But beware, candy canes are a limited resource, and they don't hold up forever. Keep a stash on hand at all times, and ration them wisely. And if you run out, improvise. A holiday wreath can be a makeshift shield, and a string of lights might just save your life. Or at least, trip up a murderous elf. But nothing says, Merry Christmas, quite like stabbing a zombified fruitcake with a peppermint shiv. Sweet, deadly, and oh so satisfying. Tip 5. Don't sing along with the carolers. Ah, Christmas carolers, the cheerful, scarf-clad harbingers of holiday spirit. Or so you thought. In the Christmas apocalypse, these seemingly innocent singers are far from jolly. Their songs are no longer about spreading cheer. They're laced with hypnotic spells designed to lure you into a trance. One verse of Silent Night, and suddenly you're walking toward the glow of Rudolph's nose like a moth to a flame. The first rule of dealing with carolers: don't engage. No eye contact, no friendly wave, and under no circumstances should you join in their chorus. Singing along, even for a moment, makes you vulnerable to their magic. The melodies worm their way into your mind, dulling your instincts and turning you into easy prey. Before you know it, you're opening the door to the reanimated Santa outside, and that's a one-way ticket to your doom. Avoiding the carolers takes cunning. If you hear their voices, eerily harmonious with an almost otherworldly quality, immediately turn off all lights and pretend you're not home. Hide behind the couch if necessary, and for the love of all things peppermint, don't peek out the window. Their cheerful smiles are disturbingly predatory, and once they see you, it's game over. If you're caught off guard and can't avoid them, there's only one defense: drown them out. A blast of heavy metal or obnoxious air horns can disrupt their spell and force them to retreat. Just be prepared for them to regroup and return stronger, likely with backup vocalists. And if all else fails, a sharpened candy cane and a well-timed strike to their songbooks might just silence them for good. Remember, these aren't your grandma's carolers. They're Christmas predators, and their tunes are as deadly as their smiles. Tip 6. Avoid Christmas trees that move. The centerpiece of every cozy holiday scene is now a nightmare in disguise. Christmas trees, the symbols of family gatherings and joy, are no longer content to sit quietly in the corner. Some have started moving. These animated evergreens shuffle closer when you're not looking, their ornaments jangling like sinister laughter. And trust me, they're not coming for a hug. The first sign you're dealing with a rogue tree? Subtle repositioning. Maybe it's suddenly closer to the fireplace, or maybe its angle has shifted just enough to make you doubt your memory. Don't doubt your memory. Trees don't move unless they're dragged, and if you didn't drag it, something far worse is happening. If you hear rustling when there's no wind or spot a faint glow from within the branches, you've got a killer conifer on your hands. And don't be fooled by their decorative charm. Those twinkling lights are a distraction, and those shiny ornaments, weapons in disguise. If a rogue tree gets too close, you'll find yourself caught in a web of tinsel stronger than steel, with no way out but through the pointy end of its star topper. To survive, stay vigilant. If a tree seems suspicious, don't turn your back on it. Keep your distance and arm yourself with the nearest fire poker, or, yes, a sharpened candy cane. The only thing these trees hate more than axe-wielding humans is fire. A quick strike to the base or a well-placed match can neutralize the threat, but be careful not to set your whole house ablaze in the process. The last thing you need is to survive the Christmas apocalypse, only to lose everything to a festive inferno. Tip 7. Fruitcakes are not your friends. The fruitcake. Once the butt of every holiday joke, it's now a walking, well, wobbling nightmare. In the Christmas apocalypse, fruitcakes have gained sentience, and they're not happy about decades of ridicule. These dense, indestructible desserts have turned their legendary shelf life into a weapon, and they're out for revenge. First, let's address the obvious. You can't eat them. Don't even try. If a fruitcake shows any signs of movement, quivering on its plate, inching toward the edge of the counter, or outright chasing you across the room, it's too late. That's not dessert anymore. It's an apex predator. And trust me, it doesn't care how much you love holiday traditions. Fruitcakes are nearly indestructible, so brute force isn't your best option. Guns? Useless. Knives? Forget it. Your only hope is to trap it. Use a heavy bowl, a trash can, or even a snow globe to pin it down. Just make sure you don't touch it directly. Fruitcakes are rumored to emit a subtle curse, one that makes you crave more fruitcake until your holiday ends in madness. If you find yourself cornered by one of these deceptively festive beasts, distract it. Fruitcakes are notoriously vain and can't resist being admired. Compliment its shiny candied fruit or marvel at its heft, while you slowly inch towards safety. And if you have to engage, remember, fireworks. A torch or a well-placed candle can send it back to the hellish bakery it crawled out of. But act fast, burning fruitcake smells awful. And the stench might attract other horrors, like zombified elves or angry mall Santas. Tip 8. Elves on strike are dangerous. Santa's workshop has fallen apart, and the elves are no longer the cheerful, overworked minions of Christmas lore. They're armed, angry, and out for blood, or at least vengeance against anyone still singing jingle bells. These diminutive terrors have swapped out toy-making for trap setting, and their creativity is now being channeled into your doom. Elves on strike don't fight fair. They use their workshop skills to craft horrifyingly effective weapons. Jack-in-the-boxes that explode on impact, nutcrackers with razor-sharp jaws, and toy trains that double as battering rams. You'll know you're in elf territory when you spot scattered tinsel, suspiciously glittery footprints, or a faint giggling sound that sends chills down your spine. To survive an encounter with strike-happy elves, you need to think like a Christmas warrior. Avoid areas with heavy holiday decorations. Those are their traps. If you hear faint music boxes playing Deck the Halls, back away slowly. It's probably bait. If you spot a teddy bear with glowing red eyes, run. It's not cute. It's armed. Your best defense against these pint-sized nightmares is unpredictability. Elves thrive on planning and precision, so throw them off by being as chaotic as possible. Use loud noises, bright lights, or even your stash of sharpened candy canes to disrupt their coordinated attacks. And remember, elves might be small, but they're not invincible. A quick swipe with a makeshift weapon or a well-timed kick can send them flying. Just don't let your guard down, because where there's one, there are always more lurking nearby. Tip 9. Don't trust the stockings. Stockings hung by the chimney with care? Not anymore. In the Christmas apocalypse, those seemingly innocent decorations have turned sinister. If your stocking starts moving on its own, or feels heavier than usual, it's no longer a festive placeholder for candy. It's a trap. Whatever's lurking inside isn't a gift, and it's not here to spread holiday cheer. The first sign of trouble is subtle movement. Maybe the stocking sways slightly when there's no breeze, or you hear a faint rustling sound from within. That's your cue to grab the nearest blunt object, a fire poker, or even a sturdy gingerbread rolling pin will do, and prepare for battle. Do not stick your hand in to investigate. This isn't a Hallmark movie, and curiosity will absolutely get you killed. Stockings in the Christmas apocalypse are known for housing all sorts of horrors. Sometimes it's a venomous candy cane spider, other times it's a fistful of cursed coal that bursts into choking smoke the moment it's disturbed. And then there are the truly terrifying cases. Miniaturized zombie elves waiting to spring out and go for your throat. You don't want to find out what's inside the hard way. To protect yourself, inspect stockings from a safe distance. Use tongs or a long stick to prod them. And if they so much as twitch, get rid of them immediately. Toss them into the fireplace or out the nearest window, whichever option feels less life-threatening. Remember, stockings are supposed to hold gifts, not serve as nesting grounds for holiday nightmares. Treat them with the suspicion they deserve, and you might just make it through this cursed Christmas with your limbs intact. Tip 10. Stay out of Santa's sight. Santa Claus is coming to town, but not with presents or good cheer. In the Christmas apocalypse, he's transformed from a jolly gift giver to a relentless hunter. He knows when you're sleeping, he knows when you're awake, and now, he knows exactly where to find you. If you want to survive, staying out of Santa's sight is your top priority. First things first, Santa has supernatural tracking abilities. He doesn't need GPS, he has magic. If you've been naughty, he'll find you faster than you can say ho, ho, no. Avoid places that scream holiday spirit, like decorated town squares or glowing Christmas displays. The brighter and more festive the location, the more likely Santa is to show up with his undead reindeer in a blood-red sack that's disturbingly lumpy. To stay under his radar, ditch anything that could attract his attention. That ugly Christmas sweater with flashing lights? Burn it. The holiday playlist blasting Santa Claus is coming to town? Delete it. Santa thrives on Christmas cliches. So the less festive you are, the better your chances of survival. Go full anti-Christmas. Gray clothing, dim lighting, and absolutely no tinsel. If you do encounter Santa, don't bother pleading or trying to explain that you were only a little naughty this year. He doesn't care. Your only option is to avoid direct confrontation. Distract him with decoy gifts, or toss him a cursed fruitcake if you've got one handy. And if all else fails, run like your life depends on it. Because it does. Santa isn't the jolly old elf you remember. And in the Christmas apocalypse, the only gift he's bringing is your untimely demise. Congratulations, you've made it through the Christmas apocalypse. Barely. You've dodged murderous mall Santas, outsmarted zombified reindeer, and turned candy canes into weapons of mass destruction. Sure, you're covered in tinsel and possibly fruitcake goo. But you're alive. And in this Yuletide nightmare, that's the best gift of all. But survival has changed you, hasn't it? You'll never look at eggnog the same way again. and the sight of a Christmas tree might send you into a full-blown panic attack. That's okay. You're not alone. We've all learned the hard way. The Christmas isn't about peace and goodwill anymore. It's about staying one step ahead of Santa and his merry band of horrors. So what's next? Maybe you'll skip the holiday cheer next year and trade it in for a tropical vacation. Or maybe you'll stay home, armed to the teeth with sharpened candy canes and a torch, waiting for the season of terror to return. Either way, you're a survivor now, and nothing, not even a sentient fruitcake, can take that from you. As you pack away your battle-scarred decorations and sweep up the shards of shattered ornaments, remember this. Christmas may never be the same, but you're stronger than the chaos. You faced the most horrifying holiday imaginable, and you came out on the other side. That's worth celebrating, even if it's with bottled water and a candy cane dagger by your side. Stay safe, stay vigilant, and may your next holiday season be less murderous. Merry survival and a happy apocalypse to you all.